You arrive at an incident, could be involving an electric vehicle, you're not really sure. What's the first thing you do? When you arrive on scene, you do the first thing you do at every scene, a 360 size up. You have to know exactly what you have. And that could be an electric vehicle, it could be a standard combustion engine vehicle, or it could be a hybrid vehicle, something in between. Anything with a lithium-ion battery. But how do you know it has a lithium-ion battery? Or how do you know it's an electric vehicle? Here are some tips, here's some things to look for to get you through that process. Now there's a number of clues you can look for when you're doing your 360. The first one is badging. What's on the vehicle? For example, if it's a Tesla, the most popular electric vehicle out there, in fact 77% of the electric vehicles on the road today are Teslas. You know that's an electric vehicle. You look for their logo and it's pretty obvious what you have. But you've got other vehicles out there. Look for green, Leaf, EV, Save the Planet, whatever happens to be on that vehicle, that type of badging that will give you an indication that this is an electric vehicle or some type of alternative fuel vehicle. Some other things you can look at. Look at the front end of that vehicle. If you've got that smooth front end, that styled front end without the grille, it's pretty obvious you have an electric vehicle. They don't require radiators. So you get rid of that grille on most of these vehicles. What about the lack of exhaust? EVs don't have an exhaust pipe. They don't need it. So that's another area you can look. And a lot of us focus on passenger vehicles, but that goes for heavy truck as well. There's a lot of larger trucks out there, delivery trucks for example, vans, that are fully EV, especially if you live in a city. Electric vehicles don't require fuel. Now your hybrids do, so this is where things can be tricky. If you've got a plug-in hybrid for example, you're looking for a fuel fill door, but you're also looking for an outlet, somewhere to plug that vehicle in. If it's a plug-in electric vehicle, you're looking for the charging port. Flip open the door. A lot of the electric vehicles, they have that charging port in inconspicuous locations, but there are a number of electric vehicles that have that charging port up in the front driver's side fender. Most EVs have them on the driver's side, although I've seen a few electric vehicles that have had that charging port on the passenger side as well. They can really put that charging port anywhere. You start getting into heavy truck, for example, where there may be a fuel door or where the traditional fuel door would typically be located, just pop it open, look in there. Do you have a place for fuel or do you have a charging port, somewhere to plug that vehicle in? So there's a number of factors you can look at as you're doing your 360. Now what are some things you would look for? Let me know in the comments below. Now the state of the vehicle, that's also important. Was this vehicle just in a crash? Do you have a vehicle fire? If you've got a vehicle fire, for example, what type of fire are you seeing? Are you seeing something that looks like a traditional vehicle fire? Or are you seeing more of a jet flame coming out of the side of the vehicle, low in that vehicle? Those are indicators that yes, you have an electric vehicle and that high voltage battery is involved. If you've got a significant crash, do you have battery cells littering the roadway? Very good indication. Depending on how long you've been in the fire service, it's really easy to overlook these alternative fuel vehicles. We're so used to going to scenes, we're so used to operating the same way every time we go to an extrication or a vehicle fire. This adds a little bit of a twist and we have to pay attention. We can't get that tunnel vision. It's really easy to do. Even myself, I do this content. I teach classes all over the country about electric vehicles and alternative fuel vehicles, but I still forget sometimes they're out there. You just get in this mindset where you do the same things every time on vehicle incidents. You pop the hood, you expect to cut a battery cable, and it's full of all sorts of orange high voltage cables, and you're kind of surprised. You got to take a step back and realize, I do have a hybrid vehicle here. So it's very difficult to get out of that mindset that we're used to with the standard combustion engine vehicles that we've dealt with for years. Just remember, electric vehicles are becoming very common on the roadways. You're going to run into an incident involving one in the near future. So make sure you take a moment, stand back, survey the scene, bird's eye view, and really understand what you have before getting into the operations.